Tes on tes. Tes.
Greetings to all our friends joining us online this morning. You're with us for round 4 of the FIM Asia Road Racing Championship, and as you can see, we are looking at a nice long shot there of the mighty Sepang circuit in the heart of Malaysia. This is our second trip to Sepang this year. We were here in May for round 2, and we are back with a different format this time because this event is running together with the final round for the Malaysian Superbike Championship, so it's being run over 4 days. So if you're looking at the schedule that was up on your screen a few moments ago, you're used to seeing qualifying on Saturday morning, but here we've got qualifying for this class on your screen now, TVS Asia 1 make, and then warm-up sessions. So TVS Asia is split into two, qualifying 1A and 1B. The riders in 1A are the slower 8 from free practice yesterday, and the fastest 2, I believe it is, will go through to qualifying 1B to shoot it out for the top 10, for the top 10 spots.
I'll tell you who's really good to see out on track right now, Felix Fleming, after that pretty fast crash at turn 3. We didn't exactly see what happened, but knowing that he's coming back from an injury, it's really good to see that he's back on the bike, so which means that he probably was pretty fine after the crash.
He was. I went to the garage because I was concerned because of the nasty leg break he had last time out here at Sepang, and we really didn't want that to be damaged again, and it wasn't. It was fine. He just took a bit of a knock to one of his shoulders, but he's fine, and as you said, Daniel, he's back on the bike.
Now we're just waiting for the first flying lap to come through. It's a short session for each A and B group. It's just a 10-minute qualifying.
Yeah, and yesterday, both their free practice sessions were held in wet conditions, not totally wet, but awkward, damp conditions, which was the first time they'd experienced wet conditions at Sepang on these bikes. Several of these riders are new to Sepang, and even the more experienced riders like Vorapong Malahuan, who we'll see in the next session, he was quickest yesterday, had not ridden here in the wet, so new experience for them.
Yeah, even for Vorapong, we could see that it took him a few laps to get used to the conditions. It is a tricky track to ride in the wet, and even this morning you can see it's still pretty damp out there. It's not to say properly wet, but you can see some dry spots, but it was raining all throughout the night, and the track really hasn't dried up properly.
Yeah, and if you have been looking at any weather maps, then there is just like a big, massive a depression over this part of the world. So we are assuming, our working assumption at the moment is that it's going to be a mostly wet day today, but let's make the most of this this dry time. Number 9, who's the third bike on your screen they're going through, we're looking at, that's Freddie Jacobs, the young Australian rider, also rides in the Supersport 300 series in the Australian Supersport 300 in the ASBK, Australian Superbike Championship. One of the leading riders there, and nicely timed.
Yeah, he's coming back as well from an unfortunate fall. I believe it was at turn 2 that James fell. So it's good to see him back up, because he was fast, he was quick yesterday prior to his fall. So he's back on now, and he's getting the feeling on the bike already. And they just have 4 minutes left, so they should have about 2 flying laps in this.
Yeah, and as you said, Felix Fleming, good to see him back on the bike after a fast crash. That was at turn 3, I think.
Yeah, it's a real fast place. It's downhill, you're going full gas, and especially in the wet, that can get really sketchy.
Yeah, Varis races, he's just gone back to racing in Spain. His family, who are supporting him, have chosen that as a good place to develop him as a rider, and who could disagree with that? It's number 8 there, that's Kawi Ahmed, one of 3 Indian riders in this session, together with Jagan Kumar, the experienced rider, and Fugo Tanaka. Jagan Kumar, another rider coming back from injury. It sounds like a physiotherapy session, doesn't it?
Yeah, a lot of riders recovering still. They're back, and they should be almost near full fitness for those who are still recovering. We do have another name missing, it's Harith Farhan. He's one of the riders from this championship that hasn't appeared back since his injury, and that's due to him having surgery on his ligament, his right knee ligament, I believe it was. So best wishes to him, speedy recovery. But for now, James Freddie Jacobs, fastest through Sector 1 and Sector 2.
Yeah, he could have easily. I was a little bit surprised to see him in this first session, but the conditions were so tricky yesterday. The times they were doing, just checking out here, were about the same actually in those damp conditions. So interesting that not much has changed, even though the track is fairly dry now. We're going to see another flying lap, and those times should come down. Best lap in the mixed conditions yesterday was for Sepang Malahuan. That was a 2:36.9, so pretty close to what we're seeing here.
You see some riders really trying to stick to the dry parts of the track there. There is a good dry line on certain corners at certain other areas. I believe like turn 2 is still quite slippy. For now, Fugo Tanaka, he improves, but Freddie Jacobs 1.4 seconds up on top. Oh, but that's just changed now, 0.8 seconds. Natapon goes up into second.
Yeah, Natapon was at the bottom of the timing screens, but put himself much further up as Freddie Jacobs improves. Natapon has put himself into second and a good position for going through to qualifying 1B.
I will say that the impressive thing from James is that he's a very tall rider, and you would imagine that in these 1A championships, especially on something like a 300cc, he might have been at a disadvantage due to his height. It's a smaller bike for him, but he's somehow making it work so well, which just is a big praise to his riding, which means that he's able to overcome the so-called disadvantage in motorcycle racing of being taller, but still ride amazingly and still be very, very quick.
That's right, and of course he's been doing that in Supersport, in Supersport 300 in Australia too, so there's not a lot of fat on him, you have to say.
Yeah.
Maybe 1%. And he does work out a lot. He's a really, really fit lad. 16 years old, I believe now. And there is Natapon being tracked then by his compatriot, Watcherin Tubtimon. We've seen a little more of Watcherin in recent seasons as he's been in the Asia Talent Cup. And we are just, suddenly this session is over, this short 10-minute session. The checkered flag will come out now, so the flying laps that these riders are on, that will be it for this session. So at the moment we've got Freddie Jacobs and Natapon at the top of the timesheets, followed by Fugo Tanaka and Watcherin in P4. There is Watcherin.
Yeah, it looks like Freddie Jacobs, he's not on a hot lap. Natapon, not on a bad lap either. He's doing the fastest sector 3 so far, so look out for him. He's going to get a good slipstream as well. Apologies, sorry, he won't get a good slipstream. He's leading this pack of 3. For now, Watcherin, he's at the back of this as well. Watcherin, he's on a decent lap. It looks like Freddie Jacobs, he's going to maintain his first place because no one else is on a hot lap.
No.
But but Natapon, out of nowhere, really good sector 4, and he goes fastest.
Well, as for him, he had a quiet day yesterday in the mixed conditions, but he obviously got something right. Just jumped ahead by 72 hundredths of a second. Good work by the young Thai. And Kawa Ahmed in P3. Let's just check these results here. So that is Natapon Cameron in P1, followed by James Frederick Jacobs, Freddie Jacobs, Kawa Ahmed. Not a bad session for him either in third, fourth, Watcherin Tubtimon, fifth, Fugo Tanaka, sixth, Indian veteran Jagan Kumar, seventh, Faris Felix Fleming, and eighth, Deepak Ravi Kumar. And that was it for this session. We will be back in just a few minutes with qualifying 1B, when you will see the fastest riders from yesterday's free practice session and the fastest from this qualifying 1B. Yeah, this was of course, a short session. We're joining it halfway through in the recap, looking at Freddie Jacobs, who led most of the session. The tall, it's a good shot of him there. You can see his tall, leggy frame wrapped onto that bike. These aren't too small for mid-sized bikes, are they?
Yeah, they're decent size. They look about similar to the 250s, maybe slightly longer. Actually, sorry, the tail is shorter, that's for sure, but I think the wheelbase itself is not too short. But here's the fast lap from Freddie Jacobs, which he held for quite a while, up until the last second. And we saw the likes of Natapon just blitz past by just 0.072 seconds.
Yeah, nice lap from him. Like we said, he had a fairly quiet day yesterday. Ahmed had a quiet day too, but he came through to P3. And that's Fugo Tanaka, one of 3 Japanese riders in this championship. The other 2 we will be seeing in just a few minutes in qualifying 1B. There goes Ahmed, and that's the number 4, that is Natapon.
And this is the point where we saw Watcherin right behind Natapon, and I really thought that Watcherin was going to get a good lap out of this. He was doing decent through the 2nd and 3rd sectors, but was just unable to get into the slipstream properly and find a way into the fastest lap.
Yeah, didn't quite have the pace of Natapon. That was a really good lap from him. Let's see what he can do in a few minutes' time. But good to see another name jumping up the order. And that was the fast lap, and Natapon at the top. We'll be back in just a few minutes for qualifying 1B. Welcome back to Sepang for round 4 of the FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. On screen we have qualifying 1B. There are 2 qualifying sessions for the TVS Asia One Make Championship. And this is the second session. We just saw the first session. The fastest riders from yesterday's free practice are here, plus the fastest 2 from qualifying 1B. 8 riders out on track. The fastest rider yesterday in mixed conditions. They had damp conditions, not totally wet, but damp conditions for both free practice sessions yesterday. It was tricky for the riders. There was a few crashes, but they did okay overall. And Awarapong, the number 7, just that went through your screen a few moments ago, he was the one who made the best of the conditions. As you'd expect, he's the most experienced rider. He's the project leader. He's the championship leader by some margin, and he's leading the guys out here. He's being followed there by one of 3 Japanese riders in this series, Hayato Kobayashi. Kobayashi was 5th overall in combined practice yesterday. And other riders showed well for the first time in the mixed conditions. Arshad Rushdie, Daniel, I was impressed with him, the Singapore rider.
He did really well. He was well within reach of the timing of Verpong. He's only about 0.9 seconds off. So I think with yesterday's conditions, today's conditions not too similar, but it's not completely dry. There you can still see the slippery flags being waved. So I think Arshad would be able to set in a good time. He could be looking at a front row start.
He could, and that would be good. The sole rider of from Singapore in this championship, and there he is amongst the leading group there. So getting amongst it again. He did look enthusiastic yesterday. He looked enthusiastic on Thursday during the interviews. So they're just completing their outlap now with 7 minutes remaining on the clock. This is just a short 10-minute shootout for the top 8 grid positions.
It is a very short session, isn't it, actually? 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. And a few minutes ago, we saw Freddie Jacobs and Natapong Kalmun, who came through qualifying 1A session. Also went well yesterday, although crashed late in the session, was another Japanese rider, Miu Nakahara. It's the best showing we've seen from her this year, but unfortunately crashed late in free practice 2. As they fan out to see exactly who's there. That's Arshad, number 3, looking confident as he backs it into that right-hander.
Yeah, very nicely done by Arshad there into turn 4. Keeping control of the rear tire under the braking. He's done really well. He's pulled a bit of a gap there between himself and this leading group.
Yeah, he looked comfortable with that. Of course, these are 310cc single engine bikes, so you will get a tendency to lock the rear wheel when you change down.
Yeah, the engine braking from single piston machinery is quite aggressive. But as you mentioned yesterday, the ECU has been tweaked so that the engine braking is much more under control. And in comparison to round 2, you can see especially going into turn 1, it looked a bit wild going in, but now it looks very much in control, and the riders are enjoying it.
I think that's right. I mean, it is kind of nice to get that feeling if it's under control of the rear end helping you to turn into the corners. There's Arshad moving away at the front, yeah.
Looking at his sector time as well. The fastest person is Natapong right now. He's really going through the first and second sectors really quickly, but Arshad is not too far behind his timing, and he's all alone with that slipstream. So Arshad looking really, really good.
Yeah, impressive from Natapong, who snatched the top spot in qualifying 1A a few minutes ago with that very last lap.
I reckon that is a bit of a benefit. Well, it is tougher having to do 2 qualifyings, but it is a benefit that the likes of Natapong and James, they would get a bit more of an understanding of the track in these morning conditions going into the second qualifying. So we can expect them to do good laps in the early session, in the early part of the session.
Just a few laps, and Kiandra, who's lying second in the championship, he's just making his presence felt.
And there we go, another one, 35.004 from him.
Yeah, so he's really got his eye in. And like you said, Daniel, the session was so short. It really was probably an advantage that they're certainly not going to be tired. Just coming through there, number 6, Miyu Nakahara. Yeah, that is
exit of turn 1, right where you should flip into turn 2. And she looked like she was limping a bit, but she's back on the bike now, and we can expect her to do some decent times, and perhaps better in the race, because overall in practice she was 6th fastest at 38.058 was the fastest time. So I think she'll be looking at trying to get into those top spots. But for now, it's the charge from Nathavon, Kiandra, Arshad Rushdie, and Agus Septian as well. These guys are really quick now.
Yeah, Kiandra, he's the one that's really taken the fight to Warapong Malahuan so far this season. Although people to watch for, I think, today will be Agung Septian also.
Yeah, he's got a really good first and second sector, the fastest ones of this session. So for now, we're following Agung Septian. There you can see Nathavon's time as well on the bottom right of your screen. Looks like when this lap comes to a conclusion, it's going to be Agung Septian that will be the fastest, and then they'll have just one more lap in it.
Yeah, we just have just 2.5 minutes left on the clock now. These sessions fly by.
I think I just saw another one there going really, really wide. He's really trying to push it now. I think he needs to latch himself behind this group of 5 in front of him to get some slipstream down the front straight.
Yeah. Freddie Jacobs leading that group.
Yeah, he's on a decent lap as well. Now just 2 minutes left in this qualifying, so there'll be just this one lap coming up after this. Look out for Agung Septian's time as he comes across. Warapong as well, he's on a good lap. James, he goes fastest now, 2:34.594, and he is the fastest with everyone else coming through. So that was a surprise, because he was good through all the sectors, but hasn't set the fastest sector, but consistent throughout all of them. And now he holds the fastest lap time, a 34.594.
Very nice work from the Australian, and Hayata Kobayashi, who's another rider that crashed yesterday, currently in P2, and the master Warapong in P3 currently, but this is the last lap. And there he is at the front of that group now, just scampering away, I think, at the front.
Deki really just got dropped on that lap. He's all the way down in 8th now. So it looked like he had a good lap coming in, but it wasn't to be, and for now he has just this one last opportunity.
Yeah, and that's Arshad Rushdie challenging the apprentice, challenging the master there. Yeah, he's gone past him. That's impressive. He's really seems to have come of age, as it were, in this in the last couple of days.
Yeah, Arshad, he's looking aggressive. He's looking like a man on a mission.
So there's 3 really quick riders there. There's Arshad, Warapong, and Freddie Jacobs in the first 3 in that group, and they're followed by Hayata Kobayashi, currently in P2.
Watch for Deki, he's right at the back of this group. He's going to get some, oh, a bit sat up there. Someone got really sat up at turn 9. So I couldn't tell who that was, but whoever that was, I think their lap times definitely will be slower. For now, here's Arshad. He's at the front of this group. He's been good throughout sectors 1 and fastest through sector 2 without any slipstream at all. So look out for Arshad. He's going to definitely get a place on the front row if this sticks. Fastest against sector 3.
He's really on a mission here. This is impressive because we haven't seen him this close to the front or at the front so far this season. So this is nice to mix it up. Agung Septian, I called out earlier, but he's currently down in 6th. Decent lap, but not stunning. But Arshad is the man of the moment.
He just has to make turn 15 perfect and work for him. He comes around the apex now on the exit. Let's see what Arshad does as he comes across the line. This could be very well a low 34, maybe even a higher 33 comes across, and it's a 232.2 from Arshad Rushdie. Agung Septian, he comes into second. Dekitiano, and he does make it onto the front row.
And they've pushed Warapong Malahuan onto the second row. Great work from those riders. Arshad in particular, that was a terrific lap. You could see it right from the start of that lap. He was good all the way around it. His personal quickest sector 1, fastest of the session through sectors 2 and 3, and a decent sector 4. He put it a really good lap together. Fastest top speed as well. 193.2 kph from these single 310cc engines. Here are the results. Arshad Rushdie, the Singaporean, takes pole position, 232.231. Second, Agung Septian, 232.563. Third, Dekitiano Aldi. Fourth, Warapong Malahuan, who finds himself on the second row for the first time this season. Fifth, Freddie Jacobs. Sixth, Hayato Kobayashi. Seventh, Natapon Kalmun, faded in the later stages. And eighth, Miu Nakahara on a 235.944. They will make up the first 8 places on the grid for this afternoon's race 1. And if you're used to seeing qualifying in the morning in ARC, we're going to take a short break now, and we're back with the recap. And it was the project leader and championship leader, Warapong Malahuan, who led the session away. He was chased in the early stages there by Freddie Jacobs. Freddie showed well early on.
Yeah, he's not in a bad spot at all for the race. He's starting from 5th place. So second row on the grid, not too bad at all. Here we could see already Arshad, early on in the session, we saw him already trying to lead and pull the gap, and initially he held the fastest lap. And it just kept on going on. This was the second last lap that they produced.
Yeah, we're looking there at Natapon Kalmun. He showed well, jumped up to the top of the timesheets early in the session. Lap then, but subsequently slipped back as the pace hotted up. That was Freddie Jacobs, the number 9 there, running clear at the front at this point with just 2 minutes remaining, but things changed around pretty fast. The number 3, watch out for him, Arshad Rushdie. He was 3rd going through, but made his way to the front, got himself at this point in front, almost at this point, put himself in front of Warapong Malahuan, and there he is. We didn't see the pass, but he's in front then, and he stretched away and put a fantastic lap together.
Yeah, this was the lap that Arshad Rushdie made to get pole position. We saw him really on a mission all throughout 10, 7, and 8. This was the final corner. He managed to keep the bike under control. Very aggressive. And he got a good exit out of turn 15, and ultimately has the fastest lap time, a 232.231 for the young Singaporean.
Yeah, fabulous work. We're going to take a short break now, and we'll be back with Daniel with the warm up for underbone 150s. We'll take a short break right now.
Good morning and welcome back to the action at the Sepang International Circuit for the Asia Road Racing Championship Round 4. You join us now for the Underbone 150 warm-up session. We've had the, well, what should have been a Super Bowl yesterday, but due to the weather conditions, it was changed to a shootout. And what a shootout it was. We had Gupita Kresna, who will start from pole position. He finished with a 2:46.909. Shafiq Russell, the wild card, he starts in the front row as well. Murabil Vitoni, capitalizing on a very, very good weekend for himself. He completes the front row and starts third. Ahmad Fazi Sham as well, he did not do bad at all. He starts in fourth later for the race tomorrow. Sharul Shazraz Sharul Yuzi, he will also be starting on the second row. He's just a wild card as well, so 2 wild cards on the 2 front rows of the grid. April King Moscato is unfortunate for him. I mean, he did a decent job in shootout, but he had such a good session in Thursday and the practice sessions on Friday yesterday. But unfortunately, he will be starting on the back of row 3 in 9th place. The interesting story as well will be the fact that the 2 championship leaders, well, the championship leader Izzat and locked on points is Wahyu Aji. Izzat Zaidi and Wahyu will be starting from 20th and 18th, respectively. So that's going to be an interesting twist of the tail. It's going to be interesting to see how this championship pans out after this round. For now, here's the wildcard rider, Sharul Shazraz Sharul Yuzi. He rides for the Honda Yuzi Idemitsu team. He'll be looking to capitalize. He's qualified pole in round 2 and he's qualified very well once again, this time in round 4. Another name that we're going to be very familiar with in the Asia Road Racing Championship, because he is a young rider coming out through the scene and he's done such a brilliant job, and that's Muhammad Kiandra Ramadipa. He's qualified 10th fastest. Again, he's made it into the Super Bowl, which was changed to a shootout. And he's qualified well in this weekend. And now we're following Sharul Shazraz Sharul Yuzi once again. This is his first flying lap. Just 6 minutes left in this warm-up session. It's just a quick 10-minute session. And there's Gupita Kresna. Now, these conditions are quite tricky, I must say. It's not completely dry, but there are dry lines here and there, but you can see it's still damp in a lot of parts of the circuit. We'll definitely keep an eye out for Sharul Shazraz. We saw him, unfortunately, taking a tumble in round 4. He'll be definitely looking to make amends for that. He's a talented rider on the rise. I've watched him in the local championships, in the pre-championship, and he's really improved all throughout his career, and he looks to be trying to solidify his name as a top contender in the Underbone 150 Championship. Of course, his project led by his father, who is a very well-known Malaysian racer. Legendary, I must say, actually. For now, we keep on following his son, Sharul Shazraz Sharul Yuzi. He's on a decent lap as well. He's got the fastest Sector 2 and Sector 3 coming through now. Follow him around turn 15. Let's see what he does as he comes across the line. Here comes Sharul Shazraz. He comes across the line with a 2-minute 42.124. So not a bad time at all. Then again, it is very early to call for any fast laps yet. But there is only 4 minutes left in this session, so it's a very, very fast and rapid warm-up session. They won't get much time out on track, but warm-up is just essential just to get the feeling in the bike, just to understand the conditions better, how the track is treating the setup. For now, here we're looking, I do believe that's Gupita Kresna there at the front, number 23, and you can see there the swarm of riders behind him, everyone trying to latch behind the pole man from yesterday, and he was absolutely enjoying yesterday's session. You could see in the post shootout interview how happy he was about it. Him and his team both celebrating as if they've already won But it is a big victory already to be able to qualify in first position. He will want to be taking big advantage of that. You see that behind him there is Duktan. Duktan, he had a difficult qualifying session yesterday out, so he'll be looking to make amends for that and try and find himself into a better position. So for now, just two minutes and a bit left. Ahmed Fazisham, he's just come across Nguyen Antoine. He's just come across with a 2:49.561. So Sharo Shazras is looking absolutely rapid right now. It's going to be interesting to see whether his time sticks until the end, because for now there's no one else that's anywhere coming close to his timing. He's improving as well throughout the sectors. Looking at sector 2, he's just on the fastest sector, so he's just bested himself once again. Sector 3 not faster for him, so we'll see what happens when he comes across the line. For there we can see the likes of 1x2x rider Muhammad Hafiza Rofa, April King Mascada there as well. He comes across and some good times coming through. 2:43 from Hafiza and April King Mascado. Shafiq Rossi 2:44. Shah Shazra should be coming across any time now, and we'll see whether he improves further. He's had some good sector times. Hafiza Rofa as well. It's a decent lap from him at 2:43.384, but that's just a big indication of what the conditions are like out there. We're seeing much slower lap times. Ooh, Shazras has just set a 2:41.526, so they're more or less 7 to 10 seconds off the pace, and that's just showing that the track is still damp. It's 50-50 mixed conditions, and they will be out on dry tires, although it looks like Shazras, he's on wet tires, I believe. I'm not sure if my eyes deceive me, but it did look like Shazras was still on the wet tires. So that's probably an indication that the track is still quite damp. Not suitable yet for the dry tires, it seems. I'm just looking at the bikes as they come. It's a bit harder to see it while they're all riding so quickly, but it looks like it is the grooved tire, not the slicks. Now there's April King Mascardo. He's going into turn 9. He's leading this pack of about 5 riders. And they go up turn 9 now. You can see the dry spots of the track, but then the second they get past the dry spots, it is still pretty damp out there. For now, Shafiq Rasul, our fastest in qualifying and second fastest in the shootout. He's looking at a very good lap. Sector 1, Sector 2, very strong from Shafiq Rasul. And for now, Afizat Supat, he goes second fastest. Ahmed Fazisham, he goes up into third. The checker flag is out, so Afizat Supat and Ahmed Fazisham, they will get another lap. But these boys here, 5 riders on the back straight, look at them all swerving, weaving about, trying to get that slipstream past the riders in front of them. They will come across the line and take the checker flag to conclude the session for themselves. Looks like the likes of Duktan, he's on a good lap. He's just got some good slipstream on the back straight there. Sharo Shazras, he's on another decent lap as well. So look out for some names changing again in this warm-up session. And oh, look at the movement from Duktan. He's really trying to get in front there. Coming out, Duktan, he goes second fastest at 2:42.1. John Emerson Inguito, you see him there. He goes momentarily second fastest, now third fastest. Shafiq Rasul at 2:38.069. Izzat Zaidi, our championship leader, goes second fastest. So looking much better for the likes of Izzat Zaidi. Dimas Juli Abmoko, he's done a good job as well. He's in fourth. And Sharo Shazras, he just come across now, who was leading most of the session. And now he's relegated down to 4th position with a 2:40.298. Like Afizat Subat and Ahmed Fazisham, they're still out on track, so they might be looking at another good lap. But Wahyu Aji really struggling. He's all the way down in 20th, so big worries now for Wahyu Aji and the 1x2x team. So these are the results for the Underbone 150 warm-up session. Shafiq Russell in first and fastest. Zaidi second, the championship leader, looking much better today. Gurita Kresna, our poleman, he's in third. Sharon Shazras Yuzi in fourth. Dimas Juli Amoko fifth. Duktan, he's in sixth. John Emerson Ingrito in seventh. Giancarlo Marusio, he's in eighth. In ninth is Giancarlo Marusio. And at 10th is Nazrul Iza, 11th is Jordan Badaru, 12th is Ayoi Uwezu, 13th is Afizat Supat, 14th Ahmad Fazi Sham, 15th Hafiza Rofa, 16th is April King Mascardo, 17th is Pirapong Lui Bumpeng, 18th Muhammad Afif Vamran, 19th Shafiq Rosli, Kiandra Ramadipa is in 20th, Ayman Tahirud in 21st, Wahi Waji, the championship contender, in 22nd, Nguyen Antoine in 23rd, and Murabil Vitoni, he's in 24th. So we'll head for a short break and we'll be right back after this with the warm-up for the Asia Production 250 class. Good morning and welcome back once again for the ARRC Asia Production 250 class. There we're just getting a good look at the championship leader, Andi Muhammad Fadli. Now, if you joined us for yesterday and Thursday's practice sessions, you will have known that earlier on, Andi Muhammad Fadli, he was struggling a bit in the combined practice sessions as well. He was all the way down in the rule that Barry had expanded on earlier yesterday. But even with the so-called disadvantage that he would have coming into this round, Andi Muhammad Fadli in qualifying did an absolutely brilliant pole lap time at 2:37.401. And you could see after the qualifying session in the post-qualifying interview, you could see that Andi was really happy with the result. And he mentioned that even with that, it's a bit of a struggle, but he's managed to make the most of it. And he will be starting from the front row of the grid. But everything comes down to the race. How will he fare in race 1 later on in the afternoon, as well as for tomorrow's race, race 2 on Sunday. He does have the points advantage in the championship. He's 22 points ahead of Reza Danica. We saw on Thursday it was a dominant performance from the Astra Honda racing team. And in qualifying, it was not really all the same for the Astra Honda team. It wasn't the front row lockout that they were hoping for, but Adinanta Putra was in second. Reza Danica, he qualified 6th. And Hirjan Ana Fridas in 7th. You can see one of the wildcards as well. That is the likes of Muhammad Sharul Izwan. And so far, no fast laps coming through. Everyone's still more or less cruising around the track. With just 6 minutes left, this will be a very fast couple of laps coming. There we're having a look at Rafid Topan. Rafid Topan in the championship, he's third with 65 points. Qualifying as he qualified 8th. Previously, the Hondas were definitely the preferred choice of bike in terms of speed, as well as the Kawasaki's, but the Yamahas really have improved, and now they are really getting the top speeds in. So the power is there, and now we just hope that Anggi Setirawan, on a day of good performances, we'll see whether he can find his way up onto the front row. Now you can see the large number of riders just cruising. Charles Ezwan, he's just waiting there behind the likes of Andi Muhammad Fadli. There goes Adinanta Putra, he's just getting past these riders. Reza Danica, he's behind there. Aiki Yoshi as well. Triansha as well, he's just shadowing the likes of Andi Muhammad Fadli. Now just 4.5 minutes left in the session, so they will just get about 2 laps remaining. There at the front, you can see Aldi Satya. He had a good day as well yesterday, 4th in qualifying. That's like Hirjan Adna Firdaus. Hirjan, in practice, he was fastest in the combined practices at 2:25.945. In qualifying was a bit of a struggle. He qualified 7th fastest at 2:38.676. Of course, the conditions yesterday were varying. Very tricky day out, gloomy day. Looking at the weather forecast, we are looking at rain coming here at around 3 p.m. Oh, someone has fallen. I believe that is one of the Honda India Racing, and it is Setu Rajiv. It's really unfortunate for him. He had a decent qualifying session. They would close the gap between themselves on the front, but an unfortunate early fall for Setu Rajiv. Now looking back at turn 5 and 6, to flip to the right there is Andi Muhammad Fadli, number 108, our championship leader. Behind him, that's the likes of Adinanta Putra. Idlan Hakimi, he had a really bad day. He's at the back down, the Honda as well. Oh, so that's where Setu just gone off. That's at turn 7 and 8. It's a pretty fast place to crash. Yeah, as I was saying, Idlan Hakimi, he was 13th overall in the practice sessions. When it came to qualifying, he was just really dropped all the way down. He's starting from 18th. There's Reza Danica, the strong performer in practice sessions. Reza will definitely be hoping for a good start straight away off the line. And he won't be from too bad of a position. He'll be in row 2. You can see the top speeds, the difference between all the riders. You can definitely see that Andy Mamafati, he had one of the slower top speeds at 179 kilometers per hour. In comparison, Adinanta Putra had 186 kilometers per hour, Angki Seti 187. So there is a difference in power after that RPM cut for Andi Fadli. Senthil Chandrasekaran, he's one of the first riders to complete a lap. He does a 2:39.106, so a decent lap from him. Muhammad Irfan Haikal comes across a 2:38.772. Tough job from for Irfan Haikal this time, because he'll be doing the Malaysia Superbike Championship and the Asia Road Racing Championship on this weekend. Reza Danica, he goes fastest now at 2:29.750. So the track conditions starting to get drier. Definitely lap times much faster than we saw yesterday. Coming down, you can see that involved in this group was Piawa Patumios. He had a really good qualifying session. He starts from the front row of the grid. I thought momentarily he was going to take away pole position from the likes of Andi Fadli, but Piawa, he does start from the front row, so a really good performance and starting place for the likes of the Thai rider. Now we're looking once again at turn 5 and 6. And we're following the timing of Reza Danica. He has his teammate in front of him. Piawat there, he's just shadowing Reza, and Piawat will be on a decent lap should he follow him. Akidatis, he's just come out of the pit lane, and he won't even be able to get one lap in. The checker flag will be up by the time he starts. He tries to start his new lap. Oh, Piawat there, really aggressive into turn 9. Reza Danica fastest through sector 1. Sector 2 decent. Adinanta Putra fastest through sector 2. So the Astra Honda is looking quite good this morning. Idlan Hakimi, he's also not doing too bad at 2:35.102. He's in 7th. Quite a margin of distance between himself and the top 8. So now we follow them into turn 14. This is Adinanta Putra. Animo Fadli, a really good 3rd sector coming in from him. Aiki Yoshi, he didn't even complete a lap, so when we saw him, he went straight back into pit lane. Rafet Topan as well, he's back into pit lane, so perhaps they felt that the conditions were not ideal to try and set some laps and warm up. Now they're into turn 15. The checker flag is out, so the riders will take the checker flag and conclude the session. Look out for Andy Muhammad Fadli's time. He'll be on a very good lap, but so is Reza Danica and Adinanta Putra. Andy comes across at 2:28. But Adinanta Putra and Reza Danica both doing 2:27s. Adinanta fastest, Reza Danica 2nd fastest. And Herjanatna Firdaus, he goes 4th fastest. So looking a bit more dominant this time for the Astra Honda racing team. Oh, that's unfortunate for Idlan Hakimi. That's down at turn 15. I wonder how he crashed out there, because that's so he just went straight down. That is really unfortunate for Idlan, especially with the race later at 2 p.m. They're going to have to really work hard to get that bike back into working order. He's grabbing his left hand there, so definitely looks like he hurt his left wrist perhaps. Let's hope that he can get back to the pit and be cleared for the race later on, because it would be a shame not to have Idlan. He's such a good talent. It's just not been his way this weekend. This crash really is a visual portrait. Oh dear, look at how badly damaged this bike is. So these 3 riders still looking like they're setting fast lap times, but the checker flag has come out, so so it looks like Andy Fadli, he's still trying to push on the lap, but the checker flag did come out when they crossed, so I do hope they did see the checker flag, or else they will be taking a bit of a fine back home. But for now, there's a great view of the Malaysian flag at the Sepang International Circuit at turn 2 and 3. But these are the results for the warm-up for the Asia Production 250 class. Adinanta Putra in first and fastest. Second is Reza Danica. Third is Andi Muhammad Fadli. Fourth is Herjan Adnan Firdaus. Fifth is Fitrian Shakete. Sixth is Ali Satya. Seventh, Piawat Patumyos. Eighth is Anggi Setiawan. Ninth is Muzakir Muhammad. 10th is Idlan Hakimi, who we saw fell off there at turn 15. 11th, Senthil Chandrasekaran. 12th is Irfan Haikal. 13th is Ray Ratukori. 14th is Sharul Izwan. 15th, Leongnang Se. 16th is Setu Rajiv with no time set. And Akir Aziz, Aikiyoshi, Rafitopan, and Kau Vietnam also without any time set in this 10-minute warm-up session. So that concludes the session for the Asia Road Racing 250 class warm-up. We'll be right back after a short break, and you'll be joined with Barry Russell for the Super Sport 600 and the ASB1000 warm-up sessions.
Greetings once again from Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia, and round 4 of the FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. It's Saturday morning, it's race 1 day, and you are watching warm-up sessions this morning. This is the Supersport 600 Warm Up, and if you're used to seeing qualifying on Saturday mornings in ARRC, the reason you're not is because the schedule changed in order to accommodate MSBK, the Malaysia Superbike Championship, which is running its final round in conjunction with Asia Road Racing round 4. You can see the slippery surface flag being waved there as these riders come out on their outlap. And that's because we've had a lot of rain in the last 24 hours. Certainly in the last 24 hours here at Sepang, including most of the night. But the story yesterday, qualifying was yesterday afternoon for these bikes, as championship leader Helmi Asman just goes through at the bottom of your screen. They're going through now is his teammate Karel Idampawi, who went really well here in round 2. This is our second visit to Sepang this year. But Karel Idampawi was really out of sorts. I don't know whether it's the bike, whether it's some injury problems coming back, but he didn't show up as we expected him to do yesterday. He qualified down in 15th. They're completing their first lap. This is just a 15-minute session. Warm-up session for these bikes. Some riders are cruising around. It's not a lot of time. You don't get a huge number of laps in 15 minutes, even on these 600 machines. Just pick out some of the key players here. I think one of them is about to come into your screen. But we're looking here, definitely a key player, championship leader by 22 points no less. Bunsu Honda's Helmi Asman, followed by his teammate Azroy Hakim Anwar, front row. Helmi going through there, running together. The conditions here are damp, as I was saying, after a lot of rain. We haven't had any rain this morning. There's still damp patches on the track, which you can see as they trundle around on these opening laps of the warm-up session. And following them, I think that was perhaps Kito Abi. Maybe we'll have a look at him on 1XOX TKKR. No, it's not. It's that's Ramdan Rosley. Yeah, number 23, Ramdan Rosley, chasing the two Bunsu Hondas. Ramdan back in this series after a short absence. He came as a stand-in rider in round 3 at Sugo in August, and now it's good to see him back again here at his home track in Sepang. Staying here, Azroy has taken the lead of this pair as they find their way through these tricky conditions. Warm-up, of course, is important. Qualifying was yesterday, that was the business end, but warm-up, there will have been some setup changes. The qualifying was done in mixed conditions. Azroy and Helmi going through. See what they've got. Azroy jumped to the top. He had a good sector 4, which is all important. And he's recorded a time of 2:15, a few tenths ahead of Helmi Asman. And appearing there in P3 is Kito Abe. He's 1XOX TKKR's new rider. He made his first appearance in Sugo. Now he's back. He is a regular rider in this series. Sim number 51 going through, and behind him Adam Noradin. Adam didn't have such a great qualifying session yesterday. Indeed, in free practice, he hasn't quite got the machine working as we expected him to, because in round 2 here at Sepang he was sensational. And unfortunately for him, he had a hard crash and a knock to the head in Sugo, so he missed both rounds in Sugo, and that leaves him fifth in the championship with 67 points, just behind Karol Idam-Pawi, fellow Malaysian, riding for Bunsu Honda. But as I said, Pawi not having a happy outing so far in round 4. It's the 2 riders that lit up. We haven't seen them yet, but we will talk about them when we see them on our screen. Ibrahim Noradin puts a leg out there. He's slowing down to let some other riders through as they get onto the back straight and head down towards turn 15. So he's probably going to finish his session. There's Galang Hendra coming through. Galang was looking good at various stages yesterday, qualified back in 11th though. And just looking at the lap times, they're quicker this morning on this dampish track. 2:13, fastest qualifying time yesterday went to Andy Farid Izdiha, and that was a 2:23.7. To see some rain today, and there is one of the riders that set alight qualifying practice yesterday. He led much of it, Nakarin Tirapuvapat. He was far ahead of the rest of the pack for almost all the session, and then in the dying moments on the very last lap, he was pipped by less than 1/10 of a second by Andy Farid Izdiha. A great performance in bad conditions by Chip Nakarin. You can see he's looking aggressive, not worried about damp on the curves, coming across the line, and that puts him, that was a 2:14 lap, so he's in the middle of the field. He does back it in and get a little bit out of shape into turn 1. We noticed that yesterday as part of his celebration of the killer lap, or what we thought was a killer lap he put in yesterday. He backed it into turn 1 and then almost lost it. So it is tricky, but Nakarin Tirapuvapat in damp or wet conditions is a force to be reckoned with. Back with Bunsu Honda there, these two who sat out free practice 3 yesterday, because half the track was wet and half the track was dry, and there was nothing to gain. They just watched it from pit wall, but they're putting the work in now in this brief warm-up session. 2/3 of it is gone. There's just over 5 minutes remaining. And Helmi goes to the top. Good sector 3. That was a good lap for him. 2:12.3. So about 0.7 clear of his teammate Azroy Hakim Anwar. Another rider that showed well yesterday, and especially in the damp conditions yesterday, to come through and take the front row. So it was a Honda lockout with the Astra Honda on pole position, and then Thai Hondas in P2 and P3. So good to see another rider coming through towards the front in this class, and he's followed there by Ratapong Willera. Ratapong again had one of his better showings this season. He qualified 4th with a 2:25.8 in those tricky conditions. That was almost 2 seconds off Andy Farid's pole time. But Ratapong looked in much better shape than we've seen him for much of the rest of this season. And that's one of the 1XOX bikes down there. That is, I think, that's Ramdan Rosley. Ramdan Rosley has gone down there. Can't see quite at the moment where that is on the circuit. His bike is just out of harm's way. There might be a bit of debris on the track, but that's definitely, he's definitely okay, although trudging away, a little disheartened. That's not the best start to the day as we come back to with Krichaporn Kausonti. He looks on it, doesn't he? He'll have been boosted by winning that front row slot yesterday, and he looks confident in the conditions that are still a little difficult, a little challenging. The kind of conditions where you could become overconfident and slip up, but he's looking good. He looks confident on that CBR 600. Until this, let's watch Kausonti come across, see what kind of a lap that was. That was a 2:13.9, so decent pace, but not his best lap of the session. Ratapong Willarot, his countryman on the Thai Yamaha, is currently 4th in this warm-up session. A little bit slower than him. Galang 5th, and Kito Abe. We haven't seen too much of him yet, but the Japanese rider very welcome into this championship in the 1XOX TKKR team. And there is Ratapong, followed by Irfan Ardiancia. And we've got the Ship Nakarin, crosses the line, moves himself up to 6th in this session. He's looking confident now, but there he goes again, backing it into turn 1. He seems to enjoy that. It can't be an accident because he does it every time around. Nakarin, well known for his time in Moto3, where he acquitted himself well and became globally well known due to his exploits in the wet, in particular a spectacular save. I can't remember, I'm not sure which circuit it was. It might have been Austin, but an incredible save in the wet. And yesterday we saw just how skillful he was in difficult conditions. The Thai rider sitting 3rd in the championship currently. He's got 78 points. Helmi is at the top on 104. Nakarin's best results have been 2nd in round 1, in race 2 at Buriram, his home track, at the beginning, and he scored recently scored the last 3 races. He's put in P4s. So consistent finishing. He'll be looking for something more than that today. The first time in Sepang this season was the first time out in 3-ish, sorry, 2.5 years, and the track condition had changed a lot. The grip levels had dropped, and Nakarin was, in particular, was saying that it felt very different. But they've got the data now, and he should be much more competitive this time around. And he'll be starting from the middle of the front row. Let's just see, he might get one more flying lap as we count down. The checkered flag's about to come out. Not sure whether he made it or not. I think perhaps not. But good pace for him, and whatever he needed to find out in this session, he probably has got it. So Andy Farid is Dihar, who caused a sensation in the dying moments of qualifying yesterday. Hasn't come out for this session. He's obviously comfortable. He said in his post-qualifying interview that he was welcoming the experience that he got in the wet and the dry conditions, and felt he was in really good shape no matter what the Sepang climate throws at him on race day today. So his confidence seems to be indicated by the fact that he hasn't come out for this session. There's his Astra Honda teammate, Irfan Ardiancia. I beg your pardon, that is Andy Farid Izdihar making an appearance just in time. There go the two Bunsu Hondas who have been formation flying throughout this session. And they have bagged P1 and P2 in warm-up. Best lap for Helmi Asman, the championship leader, 2:11.975, and 74 hundredths of a second behind him, his teammate Azroy. Azroy missed the first round at Buriram, unfortunately, with the COVID problem back then that ruled him out, so he has only done 2 rounds out of 3 so far. So those 2 DNSs have compromised his standing in the championships. Nevertheless, he's in 8th with 2 podiums, 3rd place in round 2 at Sepang, and a 2nd place in round 3, race 2 at Sugo, last time out. We'll just take a look at the results now. So that is championship leader Helmi Asman, 2:11.975 in these damp conditions, closely followed by his Bunsu Honda teammate Azroy Hakim Anwar. For Yamaha Thailand Racing Team, Ratapong Willarot 3rd, 4th Galang Hendra, 5th Krichapong Kausonti for Thai Honda, his teammate Nakarina Tirapuvapat 6th, 7th for Kito Abe, and 8th Ibrahim Noradin. In 9th place, Ferozi Torakatullah, 10th Irfan Ardiancia, 11th Ramdan Rosley, who we saw crash a little earlier, Sota Furuyama. For Victor Racing it was 12th, 13th Caroline Paui, still a long way back unfortunately, 14th Kondanai Kurt Kiao, the Thai privateer, and no time for Andy Farid or Chiang Chi Ying, the wild card. That's it for the Supersport 600 session. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back in less than 10 minutes with the warm-up session for the ASB1000 Superbike class. Plenty of talking points there too. We'll take a short break and we'll see you then. Greetings again to all our friends watching on the live stream. We are here at Sepang for round 4 of the FIM Asia Road Racing Championship, and this is the Asia Superbike, the ASB1000 Warm Up session, 20-minute session, and the bikes are just coming out now to complete their out laps. And you can see two things on your screen at the moment, as well as the bikes. You can see the slippery flag being waved, and you can see some damp patches on the track. It hasn't been raining this morning, but there was a lot of really persistent rain last night. And that's a good shot to give you an idea there. So the lap times we've been seeing have been some way off what you'd expect in the dry, of course. For this warm-up session, we'll see how the track dries, what kind of pace we see from some of the leading riders. At the top of the screen there, by virtue of his number, is Zakwan Zaidi. Zakwan had a difficult time in qualifying yesterday. Qualifying was in damper than this conditions, really quite mixed, with the track changing all the time, but it was a predominantly wet track, and he ended up qualifying in 8th place, which is not what you'd expect from the multiple Malaysian champion. But it's fair to say this season, and Zakwan would tell you himself, that he hasn't quite blended as one. He's not quite in harmony with that new spec CBR 1000. It's a ferociously fast bike, and Zakwan is himself ferociously fast, but the whole package of bike and rider has not quite gelled yet. Having said that, Zakwan led the championship into round 3 last time out at Sugo. Had the lead snatched away from him by Haruki Noguchi, who took a double win there, and in fact made it 3 wins in a row. He scored his first victory here at Sepang in round 2 back in May, and then followed it up with a double at Sugo. So he is on for, he hopes, wins 4 and 5 here at Sepang. There you see the 2 Yamaha Thailand R1s of Anupab Samoon and Apiwat Wongtananon coming out, and they are joined by Adam Noradin on the 1XOX TKKR BMW. Just taking a look around to see if they can get past the wild card just in front of them. And there they go, as the Suzuki moves aside just about. Still has Adam Noradin behind him. Can't quite see which wild card that was, but let's stay with these two Thai Yamahas. Mixed fortunes for them in qualifying yesterday. Apiwat Wongtananon did what he does well. He does many things well, but one of the things he's really good at is putting his bike on the front row in qualifying, and he did that yesterday. Qualified on the outside of the front row. Anupab had a poor session by his standards, qualifying in 10th and some 6 seconds off the pole time. As I said, it was in difficult conditions, but Anupab is struggling a bit with arm pump in his right arm, which is, if you're going to have arm pump, your right arm is definitely not the one you want to be suffering it in. So he was struggling, although you'd think if conditions are wet and there's less pressure going on that arm, then he could perform well later on. And Anupab is a good wet weather rider too. Well, here is the man of the moment we're looking at. This is Daniel Kazmayuddin for Yamaha Racing Team ASEAN. What a day for them it was yesterday, despite the tricky conditions. Kazma's teammate Yuki Ito led most of the qualifying session and looked clear, but right at last knockings, and literally the last lap, Kazma put in a flyer to edge ahead and take pole position yesterday. So it's a 1-2 for Yamaha Racing Team ASEAN for this afternoon's race. And in fact, the Yamaha lockout on the grid, as I mentioned earlier, AP250 Tananon was the third fastest qualifier. But sensational work by Kazma Daniel yesterday, that he literally couldn't be happier with the machine and the team, so everything is looking in really good shape here. So he comes across the line. Let's just get a feeling for the conditions now. That was a 2:10. Well, pole position last time out was around about 2:05, so that's a good indication of what the effect the conditions are having. Here is Zakwan Zaidi on the Honda Asia Dream Racing by Showa CBR 1000 RR. He puts himself into P2 in this short warm-up session. Backs it in nicely there, but Yuki Ito, just mentioned, he led much of qualifying yesterday. He's now leading the warm-up session this morning, so great to see the Japanese rider back on form and responding well to the challenge of these difficult conditions. Here is Aslan Shah putting a good early lap in warm-up. You can see from the pink strip on the tyre there, Aslan is running a soft rear, not surprising in these cool conditions. Track temperature here 29.5 degrees Celsius. So really cool for what we're used to at Sepang, which is usually closer to 40. Back with the Thai Yamaha duo, led currently by AP250 Tananon with Anupab Sarmoon just behind him. They're currently sitting second and third respectively in this warm-up session, and qualified third and 10th respectively. As I was mentioning, Anupab struggling, but the times are coming pretty close to decent race times. A good race pace here in the dry is anywhere in the 2:07s. As these two come onto the back straight, that was Yuki Ito just going through there, following Zakwan Zaidi. But we're staying with these two Yamaha Thailand R1s. Pretty much everybody running soft rears out here now. Let's see if the order changes at all. Yuki brought the time down a little bit further to 8.089 to remain on top. Casper's currently the wild cards. You're never sure what you're going to get in a wet qualifying session, but we had an absolutely sensational one yesterday, even with a replay. If you got time to go down the YouTube rabbit hole, take another look at that. It really was a phenomenal session. Casper Daniel, best times of the session so far in sectors 1 and sector 2. Just looking at the timing screen, and there is Yuki Ito currently leading this warm-up session. Zakwan edging in front of him there, possibly holding the Japanese rider up a little bit there, Zakwan. But decent times for them. They're in the 2:08s. Fastest 5 in warm-up so far are in the 2:08s. Yuki Ito, the best of them. In a very gentlemanly way, goes around the outside, and Zakwan almost switches back as they come onto the back straight and head down this fast section towards turn 15. Hard braking. All the weight on the front as the back comes out, and let's see if they can change anything here, but it's Kazma Daniel who's just jumped to the top. He's into the 2:07s by some margin. Kazma Daniel, another surprise for him, from him. He's gone more than 0.8 of a second clear of his teammate Yuki Ito, and he's completed a really quick sector 1-2. Haruki Noguchi, there he is, championship leader, thanks to that double win in Sugo. He was fourth in qualifying, so on the second row, which is not where we would have expected to see him. He scored his first win in this class last time out here at Sepang in race 2. He'd been hunting for the win right from the off in Buriram in round 1, right from race 1, which he led most of. And he was looking a little bit tense and looking and expecting his first win. He got it in race 2, in round 2, so fourth time out, and he's looked much more. The stress has come out of his body language, and he looks really comfortable and really happy. See him leaning shoulder first off the bike there. Easy to spot his technique, even if you're only watching in a silhouette. Ricky Noguchi. Where is he on the timing screen? He's currently 6th. Kazma slowed down a little bit on his current lap. Still looking decent. Good pace from Kazma Daniel. That was 2:09 that last lap, but he has put the killer lap in for this warm-up session. In all likelihood, there's 7 minutes remaining, and he's 0.8 of a second clear in these conditions. Just watch Ricky Noguchi set himself up for turn 15, the all-important turn 15. Quite a careful entry there for him. He's running a medium rear, that's interesting. And he's going to cross the line in 209.0, so that keeps him in 6th. Still just the top 5 in this session. In just yesterday, one of the class rookies. Pasawik Titiwararak has done a really good job in his first season in this class. He's finished every race. He's put himself in a decent championship position, 6th to be exact, thanks to consistent finishes. And notably, last time out at Sepang, he was quick much quicker in race 2 than he was in race 1. And he's looked really good. Qualifying yesterday, he put himself on the second row, P6, outside of the second row, and so that was that's his best qualifying so far this season. And he was saying back on Thursday when we interviewed him that he was feeling confident about top 5 finishes, and he does look good for it. Shah, 2019 champion, of course, the last of the most recent of many championships the Malaysian legend has bagged. Just moved himself up into 7th, but we haven't seen the best of Aslan or the best of the BMW. They went really well in 2019 when Aslan, of course, took the championship, and we also saw some sensational performances from his teammate Marcus Reiterberger that season. But it hasn't, on the new machine with the new electronics, it hasn't quite come together yet. A frustrating season for Aslan and for his fans, it has to be said. So at the top there, and, looking good in these conditions. The 2 Yamaha Racing Team ASEAN R1s, Zakwan Zaidi, doing a good job in these conditions. His best times are 2:08.2, that's his 3rd fastest, and he's got the Thai Yamahas half a second behind him. As we take another look again at Zakwan. Not the best showing for him yet in round 4. In May, in round 2, we were here, of course. He scored a 4th place and a 2nd in race 2. His single win so far of the season was the first race of the season at Buriram in race 1. Zakwan looking nicely composed there. Just looking at his sector times, pretty decent. So good pace in these conditions, I think, from Zakwan. He just goes past one of the wild cards and into the final turn. So let's see what he's going to do. But I think his pace is around the 208s. Going to be in the 208s again now. 208.3. Another decent time from Zakwan. Good pace in these damp conditions. And about a second off a really good race pace in dry conditions at Sepang. Just going through there is, I believe it was for Victor Racing back in 2019. But good to see him here. He came through qualifying 1, second quickest, and ended up qualifying 12th. He'll start from 12th this afternoon. But a lot of support for Farid Badrou here at Sepang, popular rider. Huge crowds here, of course, on a free practice day yesterday, but there was some vocal jubilation as he rose up the order in qualifying 1. This time out we went for MotoGP 2, and the remainder going into qualifying 1. And Farid was one of those who came through qualifying 1. The other one was Gary Salim. Gary Salim is currently 10th. He's currently in the pit, but he's been lapping in the yesterday. But looking aggressive, looking determined. He's coming onto the back straight now, just looking at the time ticking away. There's 23 seconds left. He will get in another flying lap if he wants it, and I think he will, the way he's breaking into that turn. He's not coming into pit lane. That was a good sector 3 for him, so let's see where he crosses the line now. 208.6, decent pace. Not quite his best time of the session. As he slides into turn 1 for one more flying lap if he wants it. And there is back there with the Thai Honda of Pasawit Titiwararak. To give it its full team name, Asimo S1 Racing, SI Racing with Thai Honda. Asimo, very well-known and accomplished Japanese team working in conjunction with Thai Honda, which have this fantastic production line, bringing through talented Thai riders. Pasawit is one of those that stepped up to ASB1000. And there goes Yuki Ito. Another good outing for him. He's looked really good at Sepang. Only that was a confident exit from turn 15 to complete his session. Best time of him, 208.089. But late in the session there, Apiwat Wongtananon, we didn't see him on screen, but he got into the 207s together with Kazma Daniel. So Apiwat Wongtananon, good pace once again from the Thai rider Kazma Daniel. Is he going to do anything else as we close? Probably not. Not quite, but that was another 207. That was a 207.9. So ominously good pace throughout that session for Kazma Daniel, Kazmayuddin. Great work too by Apiwat Wongtananon. So the Yamaha's looking good, and Yuki Ito was third fastest in that session. So in a different order, they were the same first 3 qualifiers yesterday. Yesterday it was Kazma, Yuki and Apiwat. Kazma just goes inside. No doubt one of his heroes, Aslan Shah. Aslan, the senior rider in this class, you have to say now. And Kazma, the new one coming through, really developed as a superbike rider this season. Let's take a look at the qualifying positions. So there it is, number 1 again, Kazma Daniel Kazmayuddin, qualified on pole and is fastest in warm-up. Just behind him, Apiwat Wongtananon, 3rd Yuki Ito, 4th Zakwan Zaidi. Nice session from him, and 5th, another good session for the Thai Pasawit Titiwararak. 6th, Haruki Noguchi, pushing hard, but ended up with a best time of 2:08. 7th, Aslan Shah. 8th, Anupab Sarmoon. And 9th was Takuya Suda, the wildcard on the Mobilum Suzuki. 10th, Gary Salim for Honda Asia Dream Racing by Showa. 11th, Farid Badrul Hisham. 12th, Osama Murray. 13th, Sayukri Matsuki. 14th, Chiaoyu Zhou. 15th, Ku Chi Yen. And 16th, Michael Stone, who did not appear in that session. 17th, Raja Nazim Iskandar, and Tiwi Jin 18th. 19th, Adam Noradin, we did see him out at one point, but recorded no time, so I'm not sure what happened then. He ended the session in the pits. So there is the warm-up. We will be back this afternoon with race 1s for all classes, come rain, come shine. We're going to sign off now. Until then, we'll be back at 12:35 for the TVS Asia One Make Championship, which will get the racing underway. And we'll be signing off for now and handing back to the MSBK. We look forward to seeing you after lunch.